And we're
energy,
super excited.
Energy. Woo!
Hey guys, it's Viv
and G.
Welcome to our channel. So we just finished watching Bachelor in Paradise episode 4.
So it started off just like last week ended with Tia confronting Chris about that kiss with Crystal. So the conversation was really intense. Tia spoke her mind and Chris was really kind of an asshole about the whole situation. He put her down. He kind of tried to make her seem a little bit crazy.
He really just manipulated this whole scenario with this triangle with him, Tia, and Crystal.
Yeah.
Like, it was awkward. Chris, you did an awful job. Please don't ever play a girl like that again. So rude, disrespectful, like, ugh.
Yeah. And as they're talking, of course, Crystal interrupts them and it's like, hey guys, what's going on? And at first I was really annoyed that she came up to them, but in all reality, it kind of made things a little bit more clearer.
It made the triangle complete.
So as they're talking, Tia says something about, you know, she's pulling out of this relationship. And then Chris says to her, well, I already made that decision.
Oh,
and she's
really?
like, what? When? And he was like, well, like last night. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like 2 seconds ago, he was saying something different to her, that he is still for her, but he had this connection with Crystal, so he acted on it. He's just super confusing and just not handling the situation in the right way.
Quickly, before we end this love triangle, I love how Crystal was like, I like a person who likes another person who likes another person. I'm at the bottom, the bottom left of the square. Like, what? Why is that the worst position? This show, people, this show.
So now we see Crystal being very indecisive about Chris and she's crying over him. Jordan goes to comfort her. And then we see Bibiana, which if you guys remember in Arie's season, Bibiana and Crystal did not get along. So they're having a heart-to-heart and she's saying like, listen, like I know you're not the villain. I know you're not a bitch. Like believe me, I'm a bitch. And that's saying a lot. Like if we're talking right now, then it's something. So I thought that was really nice of Bibiana because she's just constantly this whole season helping other people with their relationships.
Yeah, she really was. So then we have a new girl enter Paradise with a date card. Her name is Jacqueline, if you remember her from Arie's season. She ends up getting the scoop from Kendall and Jenna, and then they give her the lowdown that Colton's pretty much available, so she goes to Colton, gets a no from Colton. I feel awful. She was denied in like the first 5 seconds, but ends up going on a date with Kenny.
Yes. They had a nice dinner date. They were really joking back and forth and they had some good conversation. And of course, in Bachelor fashion, there were fireworks while they were making out.
Right.
And Jacqueline did say, you know, she really liked him and she did not want this date to end. So it looked pretty promising to her. So when Kenny gets back from his date, Annalise has a little palette cleanser thing set up for him. And it just seemed like she was trying really hard to get that rose. And they were talking about, you know, open doors or something. And basically Kenny was like, well, let's open the door. And then they kissed.
Yeah. It was a little awkward, but like truly Annalise for you of realizing who she's into when they're on a date.
Exactly. So we see Tia and Bibiana talking about her and Colton's relationship. And she said, you know, I want to be here tomorrow and I want him to be here tomorrow. And Bibiana blatantly just said to her, you need to go tell him that, like tell him how you feel. Where then she said, you know, I think a third party needs to say that to him. He needs to hear it from someone else. We see later on Bibiana talking to Colton and being such a good friend to Tia.
Such a good friend. And
talking everything out with him and saying, obviously you care about this girl, like go for it. And he ends up listening to her and we see that Colton and Tia have a little heart-to-heart once again and he says, I want to go for it. And Tia is like screaming to everyone and so excited and they're kissing and it's great. Colton and T are together now, so let's end this stupid love triangle, love square nonsense.
Yes. So now we're at the rose ceremony night, and we start off with Chris and Crystal. You know, she's just feeling super down, talking to Kevin, and then Chris comes over, and pretty much deja vu with what he was telling Tia earlier was like, Crystal, don't worry about it. Like, I don't want you to worry about a rose tonight, and trying to be super suave with Crystal. So following that, we have Jordan and Jenna. I love how the names this season just are like tongue twisters for me. Chris and Crystal, Jenna and Jordan. Why? Why do they match?
I know. And then John and Jubilee.
What? Anyways, so we have Jordan and Jenna tonight on the daybed, talking, and then I love that Jenna called him out and was like, I want to see your walk.
Yes. And he was loving it, you know, Jordan. Doing his little struts and going on the ground.
Poses.
Oh my God, it was so hilarious. But it was so Jordan, so it was really
Such
nice.
a good sport.
Yeah. He ends up saying to the camera, to the producers, that he's so nervous because he's really starting to fall in love with her. And it's just so amazing to see this side of Jordan, just so bubbly and happy.
Yeah, I love it.
So, of course, because Jordan's so happy, David has to come in and ruin that happiness.
Very punctual with it. The whole thing. David is super on it with Jordan.
Yeah.
So David comes on over with this ginormous stuffed animal.
Can I just say, where are they getting all these stuffed dogs from this season, okay? Like, did they rob a carnival? I don't know.
Brings a stuffed animal to Jenna for her birthday, even though her birthday was like 2 episodes ago. And it's really interesting because I actually feel like Jenna does like David. Like, you can tell she likes Jordan. The fact that like David's getting Jenna to like him too is just beyond. And then of course, Jordan comes right on over, pretty much rips the dog off the daybed and drags it into the ocean. Oh, before he puts it in the ocean, he's like punching it to the ground. And I'm like, Jordan, what are you doing? Breathe, bro, breathe. Which then led us into, I was really upset about this because such an ugly side of Jordan came out. He was so mad. He went upstairs to where everyone was hanging out, and he starts being super, super, super rude and sarcastic to Chelsea and Jubilee, which was super uncalled for. It made me really upset that he got that mad.
But he does somewhat redeem himself with a little help from Eric, and he apologizes to the girls with a very sincere apology, and he realizes that he just overreacted and he was in the heat of the moment.
Yep. So then we have John, who was last week's like ultimate bachelor in paradise, and Caroline steals him. They're talking on the beach, and then later on, Jubilee steals him and gives him a massage. And I don't know, I'm still pro John Jubilee.
So then we have Mr. Bachelor of this episode, Kenny, kissing everyone. First off, we see David and Bibiana talking, and he kind of tells her that he thought that Kenny had a crush on her, and this is basically her last chance to get a rose tonight. So she goes over to Kenny, they have a nice conversation, and they end up kissing. Then Kenny's not done for the night. As we saw before, Jacqueline and Kenny went on a date earlier, and they then shared a kiss as well. Then finally we see Annalise, who set up this wicked cute little wrestling like macho libre masks and everything, and Kenny seemed really into it. Like, she kind of won him over in that moment. I think
for sure.
So now we're at the rose ceremony where we're gonna see 4 women go home.
Which is a ton. That's a lot of women going home. I'd be scared.
Yes, me as well.
Okay, so first up tonight was Jordan. And he, of course, after he calmed down, gave his rose to
Jenna.
Secondly, we had David, who picked
Chelsea.
Followed by Kevin, who chose
Astrid.
After Kevin, we had Chris, who gave his rose to
Crystal.
Then we had John, who chose
Jubilee.
I'm so happy. Followed by one of my favorites, Joe, who picked
Kendall. Favorite couple.
Yes. Then we had Colton, who gave his rose to
Tia.
someone who hasn't had too much airtime. Eric chose
Angela.
And last but not least, Bachelor of the Night, Kenny, went with dun, dun, dun.
Annalise.
I was actually really happy he picked Annalise.
Yeah. So sadly, the 4 girls we said goodbye to tonight, one of our favorites, Bibiana, one of my least favorites, Caroline, Jacqueline, and Nysha. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you comment down below what you guys thought of this episode.
Yes, and who do you think, what guys do you think are gonna come on tomorrow's episode?
Yes.
Because now it's the girls' turn.
I think we did see in the preview Benoit, who has a lot going on with him last year when he was at Winter Games. So I'm really curious to see what's going to go on with him in this season.
Yes. So we will see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.